Welcome, everyone. We are live coming to you from PEPTalk, Productive Environment Podcast. I am Andrea Anderson here in Carolina Beach, North Carolina, CEO of Productive Environment Institute, and I am joined today by...
I'm Barbara Hemphill, founder of Productive Environment Institute in Raleigh, North Carolina.
And we are here to talk to you about this amazing topic that I'm sure you just saw the title and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to go see what they have to say about this, right? That's what you're here for. So the real reason that you can't stay organized and what to do about it. So I want to just start by saying that you can get organized, right? You can get organized. Barbara, we've been helping people get organized for decades. I can actually say that now. I can actually say decades now. You've been saying decades for 40 some years. I'm at 20 some years now. So anyway, but that's half the battle. It's almost like the whole weight loss thing. You know, there's so many diet plans and things out there. It's like, it's easy. I wouldn't say easy, but people have lost weight many ways, but keeping it off is always the challenge, right? Absolutely. This is no different. Yeah, this is really no different. So let me take the picture off so we can actually see you guys face to face. And well, we can't actually see you, but it feels like we can. So basically, let me guess, you know, you've bought the planner. I know I have. You've organized the space. You've downloaded apps and you still feel buried. If that sounds like you, then today's episode is for you. We are talking about the real reason so many smart, capable people can't stay organized and what to do about it. Barbara?
Well, spoiler alert, it's not about willpower or discipline, whatever you want to call it, which is what people often think. I'm just not disciplined enough to do that. Mm-hmm. What the truth is that most people try to get organized and stay organized without a system that fits them. You know, right. We always say, people will say to us, what should I do? And we constantly say that's the wrong question. The question is, what will you do? So the getting organized, first of all, is needing to have, why are you getting organized? I mean, just getting organized for getting organized sake is worthless. I mean, and there are people who do that. I mean, I've known people who do that, who simply spend their time always reorganizing, whether it's reorganizing their website or reorganizing their kitchen or reorganizing their file drawers, whatever it is. So we have to start with why. We always talk about why. What is the goal for doing it? What's going to happen? What's your vision for if you were organized and able to stay organized? How would your life be different? What would you do differently? How would you feel differently? What would be the result? Would it be increased profitability? Would it be increased productivity? Would it be increased peace of mind? Those are all things that we help our clients do. So first there's a why. Then there needs to be a system, and we use the acronym SYSTEM, saving you space, time, energy, and money. Let me say that again. Think about a system, saving you space, time, energy, and money. So every time there's something you do repeatedly, like at the time we're recording this, there are still people who file extension on their income taxes because they didn't have systems in place to get the information they needed. And so every time there's something you do repeatedly, you need to have systems. And for entrepreneurs, the key to being an entrepreneur is to create something that's scalable and replicatable. And you can't do that without systems. So that's where we are. So you got to have the right system for what you want to do. And I remember when I first started I was one of the founders of the National Association of Professional Organizers. And one of the things that people would talk about was all the different ways they would do it. And when I would meet somebody new, I would say, okay, you're going to hear one person say, this is the way you should do it. And somebody else are going to say, this is the way you should do it. And they might be diametrically opposed. And each of them are successful because, as we always say in PEI, organizing is an art.
That's right. That's right. And we often have people say to us, I should have figured this out by now. Like, why can't I do this? I'm really good at my job, or I'm really good at my business, or I'm a really good mom, or I'm a really good dad. Why can't I figure this organizing thing out?
Or
And
they may say, I'm organized at work, but not at home. Or they may say, I'm organized at home, but not at work.
yeah, that's a very good point. And basically, first of all, just first to let you know, you're not alone in feeling that way. And you personally are not the problem. Barbara just talked about having a system, that's really just half of it. We have an amazing system. We have an amazing system that works. It really does work for some people who have tried everything and nothing has worked in the past, but this system works. So our system is amazing. However, it's not enough. There are systems that break down, right? So there's a key piece that's missing in outside of just having the system. Okay, so we're going to talk about that in a second. But what happens with a lot of people is that you go through a decluttering process. Maybe you watched a video on YouTube. Maybe you've actually had an organizer come in and help you. Maybe you've read some books. Maybe you've read Barbara's books, Taming the Paper Tiger at Home, Taming the Paper Tiger at Work, and you've got these great new tips and tricks and things like that. But it comes back. So it's, you declutter and then you rebound, you declutter and then you rebound. And so it's this back and forth. And I want you, as I'm talking, I want you to be thinking about what that other missing piece might be. Why is it that when you do something, I just talked a minute ago about weight loss. Why is it that when you diet and you lose weight, that it comes back? Why is that? What is missing besides the really great diet that works or the really great organizing program that works? What's missing? If you're listening live, I would love for you to post in the comment wherever you're watching from, what is missing besides having a great diet or a great system. Okay. And then I'm going to come back to that in a second. So we are overwhelmed. People are overwhelmed more than ever today. It's crazy. As more streamlined and systemized as we could be, we have more information that we're dealing with. So we're dealing with physical information. We are dealing with digital information. And we used to really separate those, Barbara. We talked about, we can help you with your paper. And then, okay, and we can help you in this other program with your digital. But the more and more we did that, we realized even that it truly is all connected. It's all related. It's not separate. The principles that we teach for dealing with your paper also apply to dealing with your digital. And go ahead.
Well, and I was going to say, it brings us to, if you've listened to us recently, you know that what a fan I am of the term subtract.
Mm-hmm.
Because what we've done is we have subtracted the tools in order to add the value. And what's happened, we see this with clients. And I remember it, first of all, years ago when I started, was with planners. I mean, people would have literally spent hundreds of dollars on different kinds of planners that they would use.
I'm one of them.
For a while, one of my favorite remembers of this is it was January of some year. This has been 40 years ago, I'm sure. And the woman sitting next to me, she got out this beautiful, fancy planner and she went, ah. I said, wow, that was a big sign. She's, yeah, I guess I'm hopeless. I said, what do you mean? She says, my husband spent hundreds of dollars on this leather planner and I don't even know where to start. And so we literally spent the next 2 hours on the flight tearing out a lot of the things that were in that planner that, she didn't need the time zones. She didn't need all those different things. Well, then the same thing applies now. Our business is based on clutter is postponed decisions. And the decisions we have to make now relate to systems that we use. So, I've got a system for my to-do list. I've got a system for my email. I've got a system for my task management. I've got a system for voicemail message. I've got all of those systems. And then it's like, I don't even remember how many systems I have, let alone do I remember to do them all. It's like, okay, today I remembered this one, this one, and this one. Oh, but I completely forgot about that. And the one you forgot about was the most important one.
Right.
And what we've done is we've subtracted the clutter of systems to put it into a tool. And one of our principles is half of any job is using the right tool. My daddy on the farm used to say having, I say, no, it isn't just having it, because we know lots of people who have the tools, they don't use it, using it. And the only way we will use it consistently, and consistent is the key word here, is if it's something you like to do.
Exactly. And so you just hit on the thing that I was hoping people would pick up on, that having a system, using a system, even using a system isn't enough. It's the consistency. It's patterns, creating patterns in your life. It's habits, it's routines. It's connecting on a regular basis with other people that are doing the same thing as you, as far as trying to use their system so that you can stay organized. And I don't mean stay organized 100% of the time, but it goes back to your point of, can you recover quickly if you've been traveling, or
also, I've had people who meet and say, oh, I know, handle a piece of paper only once. I was like, no. I mean, or another one is, people think that, oh, you're organized, so that's a place for everything and everything in its place. No, it's not that either. I mean, because yes, there are a few people in the world that can do that, but very few. I'm certainly not one of them. I mean, I've been shared a lot that I've been diagnosed with ADHD. I'm an artist, musician by training. I love to start things. I don't like to finish them. I like the big picture, and I don't like the details. So there's nobody in the world that can make messes any faster than I can. And the systems that we created were based on my needs and my own style of doing things. So the handle a piece of paper, let's take those two very common quotes: handle a piece of paper only once, not handle only once. So if you have a pile, or email's the same thing. If you're in email, it's like, okay, open it. If you just open it and close it and don't do anything, then you might as well not have opened it. So it's like doing something, not everything, but something. And what you'll learn from us is to put it in our one system that works. But with it, paper, if you take a pile of papers and you say, okay, I'm gonna deal with this pile of papers that's been on the kitchen counter all week, and you pick it up and you do, oh, this will take 2 minutes, and this 30 seconds, and this 5 minutes, and then you get interrupted and you never get to the bottom. So you didn't get to the most important thing. So you handle it only once to see what is the next action and when that it needs to be, when it needs to be done. And a place for everything and everything in its place is half right. Yes, there needs to be, when it comes to information, I don't care whether the information is text message, voicemail message, email message, a document, a piece of paper, whatever it is, there needs to be a place for it. Clutter is not the problem. Everybody has clutter. The problem is when you have it and you don't know where it goes. If you have a system that you know where it goes, so yes, there has to be a place for everything. Everything in this place, life is too messy. I mean, it just doesn't happen that way. I mean, Andrea, we were just before the show talking about yesterday, Andrea spent half of the day in a car dealership. That wasn't on her list. So I suspect that everything didn't look quite the way at the end of the day she expected it to. But our 4 questions for organize is, number 1, does it work? Is whatever you're doing working? And if it is, you probably aren't on this call because you wouldn't need to be. Do you like it? Some of you, it's like, well, yeah, it works, but I sure don't, I dread it. You shouldn't want to dread it. I mean, you shouldn't have to dread it. And then 3 is, does it work for the other people it impacts? And that's huge in our programs, because so many people join our programs because they don't want to leave their loved ones a mess. That's a huge motivation. All of us are more willing to help other people than we are ourselves. And then the last one is, can you recover quickly? Because messes happen. And if you have a system, then it's like my desk some days, I mean, people say, they pay you money to organize people? Because I mean, it's really bad. But it only takes me minutes, literally, to get it back, because the system is something I like and I can use.
That's right. That's right. So I want to talk for a minute about what SOAR is. You hear us say SOAR, our SOAR system, our SOAR board. So let me just talk about that for just a second. I actually came up with the acronym for SOAR when I took Barbara's training for what she teaches even now, 20 years later. So it's been 20 years. I took that first training, Barbara, in September of 2005. So here we are in 2025. So we're not quite to September yet, but and I went to my first BNI group, Business Networking International, to announce to my community that that I could help people get organized. I could help them organize their paper. And at the time, it was time for me to do my little 10-minute talk to tell everybody what I did, and they could book a call or we did little meetings, coffee meetings with people back then. And I needed to come up with something. So I came up with a framework then, and it was SOAR. It was SOAR. And the words I used were systemize, organize, automate, so you can relate. So the R was relate. So it made sense to me. Systemize, organize. Even the word automate at that time was people didn't automate things back then, but I knew with Barbara's system for paper, it could help you automate how to find the paper that you filed. And so
relate was the perfect word, because you were a BNI, and the whole purpose of BNI is to develop relationships. So that was perfect.
Exactly. So for all these years, really 19 years of that time, I would say it: systemize, organize, automate, so you can relate. And I think at one point I changed the A to activate. So that was a couple years ago. I said, activate means take action. So
Right.
this has evolved. Okay. So I changed it to activate. And then not long ago, we'd already been teaching our boot camps. We were already teaching our office transformation boot camp to help people organize their paper and their physical space. And we were teaching a digital transformation boot camp to help people organize their email and their digital space. And so it occurred to me, I was like, are these the right words for SOAR? So let me just think about this some more. So I kept systemize, and what I said, what does systemize mean? I wanted to dig deeper. So what does systemize mean? And so what came out of that was systemize the capture of information. Because the problem is right now, things are coming at us from so many different directions. I want you listening now, think about where you get not only information, but requests, tasks, projects, ideas. Where are they coming from? And so I sat down with a piece of paper and a pen, and I said, okay, where are things coming from? And they're coming from email, obviously. They're coming from text messages. They're coming from instant messages, whether it's Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger, Telegram, Slack, all of these other messenger places. There's all these new places that people can message you from, saying, hey, can you send me this? Hey, can you get me that? Hey, it's time to renew this. All of these things. And then what else? Printing. So if you're printing something off your computer, now you've got paper, that's more information. It could be an idea. Barbara, when you and I have a conversation, we both lead with a to-do list. There's like, oh, that's a great idea. Okay, let me do that. And so talking to someone, whether it's face-to-face or on Zoom or on the phone, wherever, that out of that comes tasks, right? Out of those conversations come projects. And so I realized, so that to me is the S. That's systemize the capture of information. How are you going to wrangle all that stuff together and put it in your system? That you need to call this person back, you need to email this person, you need to create this project in Canva, you need to delegate all of those things. So
I want to share one source of information for me that I never used to be able to capture. Well, I did for a while, and then there was a gap. And that's driving down the road and thinking of ideas. That was a big one, because my sources of creativity: drive down the road, listen to music, and the ideas just come. Oh, I should do that. Or remember to do this. Well, in the old days, I literally had two small voice tape recorders, and I had a personal assistant. I had the same one for 7 years, and I had two of those. And so I would pick, and you could feel the button with your hand. So I was like, I didn't have to look at it. I could turn on the record button with my finger, and I'd record all those messages. I'd bring it back, give it to my assistant, pick up the other one, and then I would trade him, and she would translate. And that's what we did for years. Well, then we don't have personal assistants sitting in our offices anymore. And then it's like, well, then I wouldn't get it transcribed. I get it there, but then I wouldn't get it transcribed. So I really, really couldn't figure that out. And it was a huge loss, because I believe that some of my best ideas come, and most important things, don't forget to call the accountant or whatever.
Mhm.
And so now, because of the system that you will learn about, I can literally drive down the road and say save to SOAR board, and I've gotten it. So that's, for me, the capture of something that has been miraculously improved.
Yeah. Yeah, because even if you did that with a, there's apps that already do that. It's like, oh, I could do that with my voice memo recorder, but it's not part of your integrated system. How are you going to remember to go grab that recording and put it in there? So,
and to
yeah,
drive, you to find the app and figure out
while you're
where
driving, yeah,
when you're driving, it's not safe. I mean,
yeah,
yes, might have an app that'll do that, but it's not really
yeah.
safe to find that app while I'm driving.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, so we talked about systemizing the capture of information. So we can go deeper on that. In fact, I'll tell you more in a few minutes, but we are actually having a workshop. If you're listening to this live, we are having a workshop this week on Thursday. And you can see the link that right there. And if you're listening, it's workshop.productiveenvironment.com. So, and if you're watching this later, you can still go to that website and you will probably get access to either a live or a recorded workshop. So workshop.productiveenvironment.com. So we go into detail on that and actually help you set up your own SOAR board. But here's what was happening. So I was working on that. I was like, okay, systemize the capture of information. It's coming from all these directions. How do we capture it into one place? And then the O is organize. Okay, how do we organize it so it's useful? Well, Barbara, this goes back to you 30, 40 years ago when you first started organizing paper, and there were two categories that you came up with. And what are they?
Doing papers in homes. And there would be, and somebody would say, they'd come in with a pile of papers like yay high and say, okay, I'm on the board of the condo association and I have to keep all this because we might be audited or whatever. And I first looked at it and said, this isn't manageable to do this much. And then it occurred to me that there are two categories of paper, that there's action, like, okay, this piece of paper is something I fill out this form or make this phone call. The ball is in my court to do this or to delegate it to somebody else. And everything else is reference, and reference, lots of times it's something you probably could throw away, but you just don't have the guts to do it. You're just too scared. So I say, okay, fine, because we have the cost factor. You can keep everything you want if you're willing to pay the price, time, space, money, and energy. So every piece of paper, and what would happen would be 80 to 90% of that pile was reference. Mm-hmm. And 10 to 20% was action. So that's where clutter is postponed decisions. There's only 3 actions you can take: file, reference, act, or toss. And that was where that started. And for 2 decades, that was what we talked about, all clear the fat with file, act, and toss.
Yeah, yeah. And then, so we're, again, I'm working on this. I'm thinking, okay, organize. How do we organize? I was like, oh yeah, of course, the 2 categories, action and reference. And then I just had this epiphany. And this literally happened probably in January. So this 2025, 20 years after coming up with systemize, organize, automate so you can relate, 20 years later, I realized that the A and the R in SOAR are really action and reference. I was like, oh my God, why didn't I think of that in the last 20 years?
There's a time for everything under heaven. It just wasn't the time yet.
And it makes so much sense. So we have this tool that we created. We actually created a framework that works with an existing tool we had already been using. We were already using this other tool for our finding system, helping you find anything you file in seconds. We were already using that. I've been using that for 10 years. And so basically just started building a framework to put it all together into one place, a place to capture information, and not even just a place to capture it, but as Barbara shared, her being able to speak into it and say, save to SOAR board, and it being able to go there, or having an email that you can just click a button and it goes over there. So there's some tweaking we have to do to make that, to automate that process, but it works. But so not just a place to put it, but systemizing the capture of it and putting it in that place. then organizing it. Is this an action? So what counts as an action? We're going to do a whole workshop on this. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but what counts as an action is something you need to do, which includes a meeting. It includes an appointment. It includes anything that would go in your calendar would be considered an action. It includes a task. It includes
replying to an email.
Replying to an email. Yeah.
Huge one. I mean, for me, that's one that's made the biggest difference because
Yeah.
it's, I had a whole system for email, and I would say my email it wasn't a big stressor. We'd done a lot of things, done it, but I didn't have email incorporated with my to-do list. And now my email and my to-do list, it's like, oh gosh, this is
yeah, and think about it. So Barbara says you had your epiphany years ago with that everything, all the papers could go into action or reference. And so I'm dealing with my email too, and we're teaching this digital boot camp, right? So I'm dealing with other people's email, and I was like, okay, this email inbox is really no different than a big pile of paper on your desk. Thousands of piles of papers on your desk, depending on how many emails you have in your inbox. So I was like, okay, think about it, guys. Those of you listening, think about this. Every email in your inbox, if we think about the file act toss system, is this something I need to file for future reference? Or is this something I need to act on? Is it somebody waiting for a reply or something you need to do or something you need to look at? Or can you toss it? So the toss, hopefully, most likely is the biggest one in email because we're getting so much spam and so much advertisements and stuff. So we can talk, and we have systems for how to do that in a very quick way as well. But that process works the same for the digital information for your email as it does for the paper. So systemize the capture of information, organize the information into either action or reference. Now, that's not the end of it. That's the beginning. That's the beginning of it, because now the reference stuff can hang out over here for right now, but the actions, you're going to get late fees if you don't do this. You're going to get, so the actions need to be addressed. And so there are additional decisions that need to be made about your actions and your tasks and all of that. But the SOAR board actually gives you the framework to do that, to take the action. Go ahead.
Well, it's a system within a system, right? It's a system for organizing the action. And my daddy used to use the phrase where the rubber meets the road. And action is where the rubber meets the road. That's the stuff that's going to increase your productivity, that's going to help you take care of the things that are really, really important. And developing a system for every single action that comes into your life, because you then have a way to measure. And one of the things we say in Productive Environment Institute all the time is you cannot change what you don't measure. And most people are just like gerbils in a cage. They're just trying to go faster and work harder, and it's simply not going to work. And so what we want to help you do is prioritize. And one of the myths of organizing, I can't tell you how many hundreds, at this point, thousands of clients, it's like they thought, okay, if I hire you to help me get organized, I'll be able to do everything, have everything, and keep everything. And that's a lie. It's an absolute lie. You have to instead figure out what's important. But if you don't have a system to measure it, you don't have any way of figuring out what's important. So that's where we come in. It's so exciting because it brings people so much peace of mind, and goodness knows we need peace of mind.
That's right. That's right. So you can learn all about this on our upcoming workshop, and go to workshop.productiveenvironment.com to register, get all the details. You'll actually get your own SOAR board as part of that workshop. But the other key piece that I want to mention is, I mentioned it earlier, but again, the consistency. It's not enough just to do this one time. What I don't want to have happen is you listen to us on this pep talk and say, oh, I just need to get their tool, and then everything is going to be perfect. I just need to get the SOAR board, and I'm going to do exactly what they say. And then I'm done. Like, we did a pep talk last year called our to-do list will outlive us all. So as long as we're alive, we're going to have things to do. We're going to have tasks and projects and things to do, right? That's what makes life fun. So I don't want you to just think I don't want you to think this is another tool that's going to solve all your problems. There are routines, habits, patterns, systems that you're going to create around it so that you can go visit that SOAR board and use it. Half of any job is using the right tool. So, and again, even if you don't use that tool, whatever tool you're using, if you use it consistently, then it can help you get and stay organized. If you just think it's another great tool or another great fad, organizing hack or fad, we don't want to be another one of those for you. There are enough of those out there. We want to help you solve the problem. So yeah, so you guys can check out workshop.productiveenvironment.com. Join us there. You will get we'll talk a little bit about what we just shared about the history of this, and we're going to go deeper into how it can help you soar into action is the name of our workshop. Soar into action. So like Barbara said, that's a system within a system. And so we want to, that's what one of the biggest complaints we have is I don't have enough time to do everything I need to do. I have lists of lists of lists. I have multiple to-do lists. I write them down and I lose them. I put them on my computer and I don't get back to them. We want to help you solve that problem. If we can help you solve that problem, then you will stop postponing those decisions. It does come back to decisions. Clutter is postponed decisions. It all comes back to those decisions. So to leave you with today, definitely come to the workshop. But even if you didn't do that, if you did nothing else, I want you to look around your space and I want you to gather up your most recent papers, whether it be the mail or whatever you've been working on or whatever. Just gather up your most recent piles of paper, put it in a pile, and then sort it by file, act, or toss. Is this something I need to file for future reference? Not comfortable getting rid of it? Is this something I need to act on, or can I toss these? Just doing that alone will give you room to breathe. That will give you room to just making that first decision, room to breathe. And then we can help you with what to do next. Okay. But even just doing that, you've cleared some clutter. You've gotten the toss things out of the way, and you've got your stuff that you're going to file eventually. And then you're going to look at those actions and say, okay, am I going to get fined if I don't fill this out and send it in? Or is somebody going to be disappointed in me because I didn't reply to them?
Miss an opportunity.
Miss an opportunity. Yeah. Yeah. So that alone, if you do nothing else, just do that. Leave here with that. And then get in touch with us. Watch some more of our podcasts, and you'll pick up some other keys. But we're going to go deep into this on our workshop, and we've got members of our SOAR program that are going to be there, and they're ready to go even deeper into the actions. They're like, okay, I've got my reference stuff is good. I'm collecting the information in here pretty good. I'm loving it. But I want to go deeper into managing the tasks, getting the tasks, not just managing the tasks, but getting them done, and then moving projects forward. That's what we're going to go into deeper on this workshop. So please join us. And no matter when you're listening to this, go to that website and there'll be something there for you. So Barbara, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I want to close. What we found, I've literally by this time worked with thousands of clients in over 40 years. And I have concluded without a shadow of a doubt, there are four components to being successful in getting and staying organized, whatever that means to you. Organized is different for everyone. So you want to start with that. The first is a belief that you can do it. Some people say, I have ADHD, I'll never be organized, or I'm a creative person. Creative people are just disorganized. That's not true. So you have to believe you can do it. And if you don't believe you do it, I know that you can do it because I've never had anybody that couldn't if they stuck with it. With number two, a system. Number three, accountability. How are you going to be accountable? And there's a lot you can be accountable with tools within your own life or with your children. Children will help you be accountable or within a community such as ours. And then the last one is the word community. There's so much shame. I think the saddest thing I've learned in the years I've been doing this is how many people feel so alone. I can't tell you how many people say, oh, you'd just die if you saw my office. And it's like, most people feel that way. I mean, in a room of 100 people, 80% of them have some clutter somewhere that they're struggling with. And when we're in community, we learn from each other. We learn from our clients all the time. I mean, what we develop a lot of times comes out of our clients. So come and join us so that you can have a system to get organized so you can accomplish your work and enjoy your life and enable others to do the same.
Awesome. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you all for joining us. And after you register for the event, for the workshop, I want you to make sure that you like this video, share this video, and subscribe to our channel. There are other people that need to see this content, that need to hear these messages. So share this with everybody that you know. because you never know whose life you can change just by a simple message. So thank you all for joining us, and we will see you on the next Pep Talk, and hopefully we'll see you on our workshop. Take care.